This is We the Sales Engineers podcast, show 249.
Welcome to We the SEs podcast, the show for sales engineers by sales engineers with your host, Ramsey Majaba.
What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another episode. I'm happy to have you here. In case you didn't know me, I am your host, Ramsey Majaba, and you're in for another solo show with me, Ramsey Majaba, obviously. How you guys been? Well, that's an awkward way to start a show. Anyways, I've been in the market, I've been working since 2007, although that was an internship. But bottom line, I've been doing this for a while. I feel old now. Anyways, I've had around 8 managers throughout my career. Some good, some bad, some great, some horrible. And what I've learned is you can learn almost something from anyone. And so I wanted to share some of the lessons that I've learned from the managers that I've worked with. One good, one bad, because you can learn from other people's mistakes. I generally tend to learn very well from other people's mistakes because I see what they do and I say, I will not be like that when I grow up. And then hopefully I am not like that when I grow up. So we're going to go in chronological order. I am going to cover the first 4 today. If you do enjoy this, please leave a comment, leave a like, share, subscribe, do all that, and let me know that you want to hear about the other 4 managers and how they've affected my career. And I'm going in chronological order, not from best to worst manager. So keep in mind, like my first manager, as I did my internship, I didn't know very much. So I learned some stuff as I go, and if I look back, I can see that I learned some stuff. But see it from the eye of someone who's an intern. And as I get more experienced, obviously what I learn may or may not be more deep and more effective. But these are the lessons that I have learned. So let's start with manager number 1. And that's my first manager in my internship. I had 2 managers in my internship because I guess people just wanted to move around. It was a 16-month internship, so I didn't have one every 2 months or something. I had maybe one manager for 6 months and then another for the other, if you do the math, whatever is left. But the second manager I had was the team lead, so it wasn't really much of a change. I was working with him. Anywho, you don't need to know all this. So manager number 1, what not to do. So we're going to talk about what to do and what not to do. What not to do is forgo checking in on your people. Now, again, I was the intern. So she may have been checking in with other people. She did not check in with me specifically. And they say like silence is golden. I've heard one of my other managers say that on calls. We were in support and he'd say silence is golden. If no one says anything on the conference call. Before WebEx, it was still, those phones where you actually look like a star and you click buttons on it. So he would say that. And I noticed that silence is not golden when it comes to employees. I found out even in support that silence usually means disinterest. I mean, you can't talk to someone and the other person not have a question. That just shows disinterest. And the same thing would go with managing people. If I barely heard from my manager in the last month, I would immediately think that she or he does not care about me, right? And the funny part about that is when I do hear from them, it's when something goes wrong or when they need something from me. It's the same as any relationship. Imagine you're a sales engineer who only reaches out to customers when you need something from them. You never do the check-in, you never add value. You're just reaching out to people when you need something from them. It does not feel good. And the reason why, if I were to be a manager, which hopefully one day, if you're looking for an SE manager, by the way, let me know. Many people would say, what was I saying? If someone's having an issue, and as an intern, I wasn't having issues, but I needed stuff. And I didn't have anybody to go talk to. I was an intern. I was an older intern because I was around 20 when I interned, or no, sorry, 22. I was older than most interns because issues at university in Lebanon. So if I needed something and that manager never opened the door for me to go and talk to her, I just, I let it fester. I got angry. I was doing something called sanity, and my team lead, was saying you have to keep doing that, and I was bored out of my mind. Obviously, I was hired to do that job. I didn't want to not do it. I just wanted to do something else at the same time because I got so good at it and so efficient. So that's something that can be avoided, right? Especially right now with a simple text. And if you're an SE manager and maybe you don't have time for a one-on-one, maybe you're managing 20 SEs, which is a huge number in the SE world, but that could happen. And if you don't have time to jump on one-on-ones with every single person, maybe a text would be enough. Like, hey, how you doing? Because you can send 3 texts in 30 seconds to 3 different people and checked in on 3 different people within that 30 seconds. So it doesn't have to be scheduled one-on-one. I believe one-on-ones are better than none, than text. But text is better than nothing. Also, you can do a combination. If you don't want to do a one-on-one every week because you're overloaded, once every 2 weeks, once a month, whatever that number is, send a text in between the one-on-ones. Now, the thing that I learned from her what to do is delegate and give your employees opportunities. So she was my manager, but she didn't deal with me. She had a team lead, and she asked that team lead to manage me, if you will, not mentor me, manage me. And she kept giving him more opportunities to do other things, and she grew him. So she would do that to many people on the team. It wasn't just that one person, but he's the one who showed interest in a management job. So she gave him the opportunity to actually get better. Now, it wasn't great for me as an intern, but it was good for him as someone who aspires to be an SE, a leader. It wasn't sales engineering. It was network. No, what was it? Software design. So it was good for him. That's a positive thing I learned from manager 1. So manager 1, I learned what not to do is not checking on your people, which some people would say duh. And the second thing, what to do is delegate and give your employees an opportunity to grow. So manager number 2, which was formerly my team lead, what not to do is punish people for their initiative. So I was an intern. Again, I was so good at doing my job, which was repetitive. Like they could have automated it. I did automate it, but I got so good at it that I was asking for coding assignments, and he would say no. He would basically punish me for being fast, and I did not like that. And the funny part about it, I don't know if I have. So I've written this blog that I was gonna write as a blog, but I'm too lazy to proofread. I'm doing this as a podcast instead. Oh yeah, I do have it in here. Anyway, so I didn't enjoy doing that. I got efficient, and by lunchtime I was done my work. I had 0 tasks. I tried learning, but also I was bored. I wanted to, I had no purpose in learning anything, no goal. Let's say, if I wanted to learn, let's say Python, I didn't know why I would have to learn it. Right? I wasn't smart enough to know that Python could be something in the future, or even at that time, because everything we did was in C++. I did learn Bash to automate it. And I was punished again because I asked him if I could automate it, and he said no. Do it by clicking the buttons. I automated it later, but he basically punished me for my initiative twice. And the funny part about it is when I actually did automate it, and I gave it as a farewell gift to the next intern who came in to take over that testing. And then my manager, as the final review, he told me, Ramsey, one of the feedbacks I have for you is you didn't show enough initiative. For example, you didn't automate what you're doing. And I almost flipped my stuff on. Anyways, what to do? So that's what not to do. What to do is get things done, not perfectly. I was working with a client and she was having a hard time applying to jobs because she's a perfectionist. She wants the resume to be a perfect resume. And we kind of shifted it and we started talking about like, how about you be perfect and applying to jobs? Your resume, it's done. Don't look at it. Be perfect and applying to 5 jobs a week, for example. So just get things done in the end. And they don't have to be perfect. So this is something that I've always done. I've never been a perfectionist. If someone asked me like, hey, what's your biggest weakness in an interview, it would not be a perfectionist. But like it's a simple thing that you wouldn't think about. For example, the reason he actually gave me that feedback was once I do a sanity testing, I have to send out a report. They provided me with the report, which was basically an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of columns talking about the different errors that are out there, and they were color coded. And I was trying to match one column so that it will be the same color, and I could not do that. There wasn't, I don't know why, but it wasn't available for me on the Excel spreadsheet. So I simply changed the color of that column and I changed the color code. And my manager was impressed by that simple action. For me, it's just, yeah, it's a no-brainer. But he basically told me a lot of interns struggle a lot because they're trying to find that damn color that they don't send out the report. So again, we don't have to be perfect. I know people talk about perfectionism and we have to be perfect. Even my demos are not perfect. And I find that within the imperfections of my demo, I can actually use them to make jokes, use them to have conversations, icebreakers. So you don't have to be a perfectionist. You just have to know how to deal with it when it's not perfect and things break, I guess. So again, manager number 2, I just dripped coffee all over myself. Manager number 2 is what not to do is punish people for initiative. And you'd be surprised that many managers do that. And not to do what to do is get things done, but not perfectly. Manager number 3. Now this is my professional career. I'm no longer an intern. I'm in support, and what not to do is penny pinching. Now I was in support. We didn't have a big budget or anything like that. It's not like I was going to spend millions of dollars. But this is just an example of something that happened. Like I just came back from Beijing. They sent me to Beijing for 3 weeks to do training, or not to do training. Sorry, they sent me to Beijing for 3 weeks to support the sales team in Beijing. Now, for some reason, I was not wanted on site. They only wanted me on site when they have a problem. I have to go fix it and go back to my hotel. So it was a depressing 3 weeks because I never got past my jet lag because I was always in the hotel, falling asleep, waiting for a call, and that was like my cell phone wouldn't work. That was back in 2010 or something. The city was beautiful. I was able to go see, the Great Wall. I was able to go see the Forbidden City, the Summer Palace. I went to a few places, the bazaar. The funniest part about it is being 6'2" in Lebanese. I guess I am an unusual person on the subway, so I got lots of stares, which made me laugh. I played games where they'd stare at me, I'd look away, and then I stare at them and they'd look away, and it was fun. But when the point, okay, I'm going off track. So the point is not penny pinching. What happened was I didn't know how to talk Chinese, Mandarin, or any other dialect. So I ended up eating a lot of food at the hotel. And it costs money eating at a hotel. It was like $80 a meal or $80 a day for 2 meals, basically, breakfast and lunch. Sorry, lunch and dinner. And at the same time, like a few weeks earlier, my manager had sent someone else who is of a Chinese background, speaks Chinese, was able to go eat for like $3 a day. So I was a little bit off, but I didn't speak Chinese. I when I tried to go to a restaurant, it was not successful. I had a bad experience trying to do that on my own. So the food was expensive. And when I came back home, the first comment my manager provided to me during my meeting with him was that I ate too much or I spent too much on food, except I was always hungry. I was starving the entire time I was there because I was just eating 2 meals that were not too big. And even my manager now feels bad that he actually said something about that, especially the way he did. And based on that, I just decided from that point on that I don't care if I spend too much money. I used to treat that money, that the company's money, as my own money. And from that point on, at least for that company, I decided, you know what? No, I am not going to do that. For example, if I'm going to take a flight, I'm going to take the flight that I want, not the most economical flight. If there's an airline I don't like, and an airline I do like, and there's a difference of a couple $100, I will take the airline that I like. Whereas in the past, I will do whatever it takes to penny pinch myself. But when I'm penny pinching and then my boss is penny pinching on my penny pinching, it just didn't feel good. So I just got selfish. And again, my manager feels bad that he actually said something about that. Now, on the positive side, so again, not every manager, they have some negatives, they have some positives. And this was a great manager that I had. I really enjoyed working for him, and we're still friends. And one of the reasons was, in terms of what to do, is he had his people's back. I actually seen this manager get into a yelling match on the phone for me, right? Where we're working on a support ticket. Things have been, there were multiple teams involved because we had multiple products and each product has its own support team. And I was working very hard. I was trying to get it done. And my manager witnessed the other team trying to throw me under the bus. And he just yelled, like flipped his stuff on them on the call, yelling at them. Like, he doesn't even know if I deserve to be thrown under the bus. Like, did I do something wrong? He did not care. He just didn't like that. And I saw him go, like, start yelling at people, colleagues, on the phone for me. And it's easy to say that improved my relationship with him. Obviously, I didn't do anything wrong. I was actually doing a lot of their work as well. At least I'd like to think so. So I really like the fact that he just did that for me. Now, manager number 4, my second manager as a professional individual, someone who's working as a full-time engineer or network design engineer in that case. What not to do is wait till someone gets a job opportunity to give them a raise. And this might be more of a culture thing than a manager thing. Sometimes raises are only available if you're leaving the company for some reason. And I've seen this in multiple companies where people just move away and then move back, and they've gotten 2 raises, whereas the people who stay within that company get 0 raises. And I find that happens in many different organizations. I'm not sure why. It's just dumb. Like, you're asking people to leave and come back, or to leave because they might not come back. Like, I left that company and I never looked back. I always thought like maybe one day, but they don't pay that well. And I'm beyond it. I've overcome that need to go back to that specific company. Although I love the culture, I love the people that work there. So, and this happened to me twice in different companies. So, and the first time I got the offer, I called my manager up and I wasn't asking for a counter. I just said, I got an offer. I am putting in my 2 weeks notice. And his response was, wait, I just got you a raise. It was approved today. I'm like, was it really? Like, wait, I'm going to get you even some more of a raise. Anyways, it didn't work out. I moved on. And then the second time around was, I was approached by someone, and I didn't want to go in and actually have that conversation. I didn't want to do the demo. So I just went to my manager at the time and said, hey, I'm being approached by this company, which was a competitor. What do you think I should do? He's like, don't do anything. I'll get you whatever they promised you. And he did. So there's that. Now, on the positive side is use your team members to their strengths. And I was put the reason I say that is I was put as a subject matter expert for one of our customers. It was kind of a remote resident engineer position where if they wanted to upgrade a chassis, I have to create a procedure for them to upgrade a chassis, whatever operations they had to do. And they had 20 of us as SMEs, but work for only 5 people. So it was very boring. I was not happy, but my contract didn't allow me to do anything else. Now, my manager tried to work around the contract by making me a supervisor for other things. So someone else does the work and they come to me and ask questions if they have anything, which was good. So I unofficially helped other people within the team. But as soon as my manager was able to take me off that team, off that position, the resident engineer, he took me off, and he noticed that that role is very good for someone who's starting, who needs to learn a lot about the products. They can use their downtime to learn. So he used that to their strength, and he put them on there. And then, and at the same time, so he noticed that I actually connected well with one of the team leads on the team. So he put us as a pair, and we did everything together. And within 6 months, we were able to actually work on $3 million. I left the team after that due to the first reason, not a good enough salary. And after I left, they worked for over a year and made $600,000. So it just, he saw the strengths and he combined us too. And this very well works when it comes to sales and sales engineers. Each one has their own capabilities and abilities. So the manager should be able to actually put people together based on their strengths. And we're going to talk about the fifth manager I had now. He's the first SE manager that I've had, and I've written actually about this manager. He's one of the best managers I've had in my career. But also, there were things that happened that I learned from what not to do. One of which was, don't succumb to pressure from sales. So a lot of times, when an SE quits their job, or they're fired, or they're let go, whatever it is, the SE manager is under a lot of pressure to actually find someone to replace them, because business is on the line. Someone needs to demo. Other SEs are not available, so they need to hire the right person. Now, sometimes because they're under so much pressure, they're in a hurry. They just hire the wrong person. Let's say the SE, like we've had one SE that was a horrible SE. I told my manager that he will not be a good one. He had many feedback from the SE individuals who interviewed him that said that this will not be a good fit. But the account manager liked them. The sales manager was in a hurry to hire an SE, and they were pushing him. And because he didn't have time to look for more people, he just hired that specific SE. And it was a horrible mistake that in the end reflected on him negatively. Like, no one cares that someone pressured you into hiring that person. It was your decision to hire that person. So it just affected him negatively. And for me, it affected me negatively as an individual, as a fellow SE, because I had to do a lot of the guy's job. So don't succumb to pressure. If you think there's something that's wrong, you don't have to do it just because someone is telling you to do it. On the other hand, to kind of mitigate that, what I learned from this point is always prospect for new SEs. So we were looking to hire a second SE in my territory, and my manager had specific criteria in his mind. Like, someone has to have experience. They don't have time to teach him, all that. And I kept referring him people from my old company who don't have any SE experience. And he kept meeting them, not because he was going to hire them. And he made it very clear that you will not be hired for this role, even if we meet, just because you don't have the experience. But I'd still love to meet you so I can build my network of potential SEs. Maybe something comes up in the future. So what I learned from him is basically expand your network of potential SEs so that when it is time to hire, you can hire before there's pressure from management to actually get someone on board as soon as possible. And then you make the wrong decision, because whenever there's pressure, people tend to make not necessarily the best decisions. Anyway, so these are the 5 things that I learned from my managers. I'm going to repeat them. 5 things to do and 5 things not to do. So not to do is forgo checking on your people, punish people for initiative, penny pinching, wait to give a raise for the employee, wait for the employee to leave to give a raise, and succumb to pressure. And then for what to do is delegate and give your employees an opportunity to grow and prove themselves, get things done, even not perfectly. Then you have your people's back, use your team members to their strengths, and grow your network of potential employees so you don't succumb to that pressure that I mentioned earlier. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more, I have another 4 managers, 5. I can't remember how many managers I have after that. But if you want to learn more about the other managers that I've had, let me know and I'll do another video. I'll continue this, or we can have a discussion privately. So that's it for me. We'll see you next time. With that, I'm signing off.